What's going on, everyone? John Bringe from Techno Buffalo here with a full review for you of the latest from Samsung. This is the Galaxy S6 Edge, almost identical to its Galaxy S6 counterpart, save for some very curvy sides. Let's go ahead and see if this phone should be the right one for you. As I do with all my reviews, let me begin with a giant disclaimer. I used this phone for 5.5 days on T-Mobile, and most of what I'm going to say here applies also to the Galaxy S6 that we've got in a separate review. So if you watch that, it might sound a little bit familiar. If you want to see that review though, put a link to it down below. I'm going to end with a score and a buy, not buy recommendation. Kind of something new we haven't done before previous phones. We got to the lightning round at the end where I answer all of your questions that couldn't really fit in a section. So with the Galaxy S6 Edge, there were 4 things I want to know about when I first got my hands on it. So we're going to hit those 4 things just right out of the gate. We're going to talk about screen, edge, build quality, and TouchWiz. So this is hands down the best screen I have ever tested on a phone. And I've looked at pretty much every phone that's come out over the past 4 years. I can't overstate enough how gorgeous this screen looks. Things look bright, natural, colors look really rich, the blacks look really black. It's got really solid outdoor visibility, it's got good viewing angles. Everything about it just looks good. As I mentioned in the Galaxy S6 review, a lot of people have been saying colors can look a bit overexposed. That's more on TouchWiz side and how it displays the icons than anything else. If you put on a third-party launcher, the screen's going to look absolutely gorgeous. I kind of get QHD now. I don't really know if it's the 2560 by 1440 resolution or just Samsung's wizardry here, but the screen just looks gorgeous. If screen is the main determining factor for you in buying a phone, then just stop here, run out to the store, and go get the S6 or the S6 Edge because they nailed it. So obviously the S6 Edge has that extra word at the end, the edge, because it's got those 2 edges. And I was really curious about it. The moral here is they really add nothing functionally at all. The contact quick dialer I almost immediately forgot about. And also, why does it have to be only on the edge? It seems like that could be on the S6 also. The information ribbons were neat, but I also just kind of stopped using them after the novelty wore off, and it did wear off relatively fast. I did most of my testing on vacation. And when I was on vacation, the clock that we had in our hotel room was on my wife's side of the bed. So I thought, hey, great time to test out the night clock functionality. What it does is it sort of turns the screen almost off and you can see the time on the side. That would be absolutely perfect. But because this is one screen and not a separate screen on the side like we've got on the Note Edge, essentially it has to show like a black image on the screen and then you can see the clock on the side. That creates its own light issue, and I've got my insomnia if you guys don't know that. The screen is actually brighter than I expected, so I had to turn off that nighttime clock mode. So really all the features of the Edge I didn't use, but hot damn does it look good. And that's really to me what the Edge is about. It looks really nice. It looks like text is scrolling in from nowhere, you're scrolling on the phone, and everything about it just looks cool. Bottom line though, you aren't getting any more utility out of the Edge, at least in my opinion. You are paying an extra $100 for the design, and there is nothing wrong with that. I liked picking this phone up. I liked looking at it. I liked the way it looked from the side and the profiles. A tiny bit of glare on the edges where it curved around, but I could deal with that in a heartbeat. So I've been really hard on Samsung's build quality for a very long time, seemingly since the Galaxy S2. It seemed at least like they used to design just one device and then just make different sizes of it every few years. This time around though, it is completely different, and Samsung, I think, nailed it. The aluminum edges feel great. It is a little bit sharper due to the edges. When you pick it up, you gotta kind of wrap your fingers around it. It can be a little tricky, not difficult. You get used to it. All around though, it just feels premium. Gorilla Glass on the front and back I like. Although certainly when you drop it, or if you drop it, you might have some difficulties. I don't know how a case is going to perform on this. I didn't have a case to test for how it's going to impact the Edge. But if you are a case fan, you might want to wait to see what comes out. Not all though is perfect in the design world. It does have a gigantic, unnecessarily large Galaxy S6 Edge on the back. That's a bit much. You've got that branding, you've got a Samsung logo on the back and a Samsung logo on the front. You might as well just wear a shirt that says, I'm using a Samsung phone. The only plus side, at least on the T-Mobile variant, you don't have any carrier branding, so that's kind of cool. Last thing I should mention, the bottom of that phone looks, I'm just gonna say it, vaguely familiar to something else. So I can admit when I've been rough, and to say that I've been tough on TouchWiz in the past, I think would be a monumental understatement here.
Admittedly, I'm not the biggest TouchWiz fan. You can dispute the usefulness of TouchWiz.
Samsung really, since the Galaxy S3, has taken the software approach to just throw everything at you and hope that you like a few of the tweaks.
So you really can't call it a skin anymore. It's almost a straight brand new carrier version of Android. And it's straight TouchWiz through and through.
This version tries so very hard to break from its old habits, but it can't quite give them all up here. First, and credit needs to be given, the annoying bleeps, bloops, and water droplets you got and turned on a Samsung phone that you immediately tried to disable, those are for the most part gone, so that was a positive experience from day one. You can also disable most unwanted apps here, which is again, another positive thing if you don't want to see them. TouchWiz is also now 40% lighter, so you're probably saying, what does that mean, John? It means a lot of things. You don't have to go through 8 tutorials to learn how to wave your hand over it to end calls and that kind of stuff. You don't have millions and millions of apps to scroll through. Samsung's happy to let you download them from the Galaxy Store, but they're not here. It does still retain kind of the cartoonish look and feel of the icons. A theming engine is now built in, which is a really welcome touch. A lot of people have been asking if you can still use the themes while using a third-party launcher, and the answer is yes, well, mostly. You'll still see the theme of your choice, notifications, and the settings, and other sort of various screens. The moral, though, TouchWiz finally grew up, and now it doesn't detract from the experience. It doesn't necessarily add all that much either, but it's not taking away from the overall joy of using Samsung phones. I will disclaim, though, that I was running Nova, though, through most of this review. So there's been a lot of noise on the internet about Samsung ditching replaceable battery. So you got to ask yourself a very serious question. Say self, am I the kind of person that actually carries a spare battery or two when you travel or go out and about? If your answer is yes, you're not going to be so happy. The 2600 mAh battery, which, in case you're wondering, is 50 mAh bigger than what you have in the 6, is not the best in the world. In my normal daily usage, I'd end the day around 20 to 15%. We did, though, run some drain tests, and the battery was good for about 6.5 hours of on-screen time, pretty much identical to the Galaxy S6. We played HD video with brightness set to auto and no volume. So a few battery caveats to mention. It charges ridiculously fast. I went from about 20% to almost 80% in a little under 40 minutes when I was plugged in with the included AC adapter. So if you got just like a minute to plug in, you're gonna be able to get some of that battery life back. Another way to get battery life back is wireless charging, which now is pretty much every standard built in. So I mentioned camera earlier. Hidden behind that hump is a 16 megapixel sensor that delivers great results. Outdoors looked absolutely awesome. Really low noise, excellent exposure and image quality. Colors are accurate, and the detail is surprisingly kept even when zoomed in. When you went to the low light, though, it wasn't great. It was a little bit on the warm side, but definitely better than what we've seen in a lot of recent smartphones. Also, wide-angle lens on the front, so get all your friends in your selfie. For way more on the camera, we'll talk more about 4K capabilities and that kind of thing. Again, link will be down below to the full written review. In addition to not having a removable battery, you also don't have expandable storage anymore. And this is an issue for a lot of people, and for me it was a bit harder to overlook than the battery one. So I know the argument that it's faster now without having to read an SD card, and I get that. But Samsung, at least in their commercials, has always been about choice, and that choice has kind of been taken away with the Galaxy S6 and Galaxy S6 Edge. What we've got now are larger storage options out of the box, built-in memory of 32, 64, 128. Personally, micro SD card's not really an issue, it doesn't bother me. But if you're the type of person that needs a card, like to swap out cards, seriously consider whether or not you can live with built-in storage, and that's not something that I can answer for you. The S6 and the Edge are also the first time we've seen the Exynos make its way into the US shores. Essentially, if you don't know what that is, it's two differently spec'd quad-core processors kind of merged and melded together to essentially make one octa-core processor. If you can't guess, octa-core and 64-bit, this thing is crazy fast. And look me in the eyes when I say this. Come closer. There is no lag here at all. No lag. Nothing is going to lag for you. Games, scrolling, everything is ridiculously fast here. You got that and 3 gigs of RAM. You're not gonna have any slowdown issues. Open apps to your heart content. Scroll until your finger gets sore. Don't worry about it. Things are going to be buttery, buttery smooth. But don't take my word for it. I know you guys love benchmarks. We ran the Antutu 5.6.2, and it got a pretty whopping 64,691. So I'm going to wrap this up with a kind of a new segment for the Galaxy S6 line of phones. Just kind of random facts based on things you wanted to know that I didn't really fit into a category. So think of it as a lightning round. The speaker is now found on the bottom, not on the back, and it is way louder than before. In-call volume is also a bit lower than I'm used to. I don't usually think that much about in-call volume, but the fact that I noticed it means it was definitely lower than what I've seen before. Even with the camera hump, when you put the sucker on a table, it's not going to wobble when flat. This was a big one for me. You can charge wirelessly when powered off, so yes for that. Thumbprint to unlock is way better than previous Samsung versions and got even better with the over-the-air update for our T-Mobile unit, so super usable. Also, it runs kind of warm, so if you start to feel a burning sensation in this area, don't run to your doctor, just take your phone out of your pocket. The screen also seems to be pretty fingerprint resistant, nice oleophobic coating on it. The back as well, but that might be due to the fact that we've got the white one. This one's kind of weird. When you have your fingerprint sensor enabled to unlock your phone, let's say it doesn't work for some reason or you got gloves on and you got to put a password to unlock it, you can't just do a simple code. You got to do a combination of letters and a number in there. So I don't know, just kind of bear that in mind. Also, the apps that you might have been using on the Note Edge don't work here. There's an entirely different set of APIs. So if you got the Note Edge, you're like, oh, I'd like this cool thing that it does, might not be supported here. So just kind of bear that in mind. So what's the verdict on the Galaxy S6 Edge? I usually base all my phone reviews whether or not I could use it for 2 years. Let me tell you this, I am ordering one of these for myself. I'm going to buy one and I'm looking forward to using it as my daily driver. If that tells you absolutely anything, and I've got access to pretty much every phone out there. From build quality to software, I think Samsung absolutely hit this one out of the park. I know I use that analogy quite a bit. Yeah, the Edge doesn't really add any additional functionality if that counts to you, but it looks really, really nice, and that mattered to me. If that doesn't matter to you, save the $100 with the Galaxy S6, you're going to get exactly the same experience. You're also going to get a very good phone. Final score, it is getting a 9, the same as its non-curvy counterpart. It didn't get any higher due to the extra cost, but ask yourself a question trying to pick which phone's for you. Do I care about the design? Or I'd rather just save the $100. You're getting functionally the exact same phone. Spec-wise, almost the exact same phone. I like picking this phone up. I like the way it felt when I scrolled. But that was just me. If you'd rather save $100, you're still going to get a great phone. Either way, both of these devices are really strong buys. And I'm excited to use this for the next year or so. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Is the Galaxy S6 for you? The Galaxy S6 Edge for you? Leave the comments down below. Please give the video a thumbs up. We work really hard to bring these videos to you, and we always appreciate it. If you want to see the latest videos come to your inbox, hit the big subscribe button. And again, down below we'll have a link to the full written review. Until next time, I am John Renger from Techno Buffalo. Check you guys then.